Hello and welcome to A Squirrel Plays. Today we're going to be talking about creating an unforgettable fictional character. Although it probably won't be in the way that you're thinking of. This isn't the traditional YouTube video of top 10 things you shouldn't do or top 5 things that make a great character. Instead, we'll be spending a majority of the video trying to wipe the slate clean because there's so many preconceived notions floating around that have caused a lot of us would-be creators of characters to lose our way. To steal some of Alan Watts' words, I would ask that for just a few minutes, you check your ideas and opinions at the door. If you feel unsafe without them, don't worry, you can pick them back up on your way out. I'm not trying to argue you out of your opinions and views. I'm just suggesting that you first listen, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll see how it goes. And the first thing I'd like to say to you is that when it comes to your writing of a character, be it a video game, a TTRPG, a book, or even a movie script, don't let other people tell you how to do it unless it's the professional editor that you hired. And yes, I realize how that sounds considering what I'm doing right now. My point is, nobody is an authority over your creative work. Humans have this weird habit of limiting themselves. When somebody finds success, in this case, when somebody finds success in writing, people try to imitate them in hopes of replicating that same success. These successful people are interviewed and asked questions such as, what's your writing routine? Or what 3 things would you advise writers not to do? And then we stick to those responses like Gorilla Glue, and we share and spread that information like it's gospel, and before long, those little bits of information from a simple interview become laws of the trade, rules that you as a writer are told to follow, or else you're doing it wrong. Before the internet became a thing, this was a huge problem. There were gatekeepers everywhere, and us creatives were ever at their mercy. Writers weren't the only ones suffering either. Painters, comic strip creators, musicians, comedians, everybody was at the mercy of the all-powerful gatekeeper. And who exactly was that gatekeeper? Well, it was money, more or less. In the writing world, a publisher told you whether or not you could be published. They would publish a book solely on how well they thought it would sell. It wasn't about whether or not your writing was actually any good. But now, thanks to the internet and modern technology, you can be your own publisher at 0 cost. If you have a story to tell, then nothing is holding you back from showing it to the world except you. Plenty of books have found their way to financial success thanks to self-publishing, even after being told no by the traditional publisher. The Martian is always the first one that comes to my mind. The problem is, a lot of that attitude still remains to this day. We still give ourselves all these rules to follow when we're trying to create works of fiction. We're told that there's things we must do or things we must not do. There's a checklist to work through, a workshop to complete, and all other sorts of silly things that do nothing but distract us. I'm not here to tell you to forget everything, but I do ask that you consider something. Isaac Asimov is a man of science fiction. He's written well more than a few books in his time. In some of his interviews, he made mention that he likes short writing. He likes to get to the point and doesn't believe in flowery descriptions. Short and sweet, and let the reader fill in the blanks however they want, because he's got a story to tell. Considering the amount of success he found, one would think this advice is correct. But what about Tolkien? His writing is quite the opposite. His descriptions are flowery enough to fill a 3-acre magical greenhouse built by some elves, but yet he's found success as well, so what gives? They had stories to tell, and they told them rules be damned. What I'd like to believe is that they focused on simply making their stories believable. From there, they told them however they wanted to. And if you're still here and thinking, Mr. Squirrel, I'm but a humble TTRPG player who just wants to make a good character, what does all this have to do with me? Well, let me ask you this. What do Samus, Smaug, Luke Skywalker, and your TTRPG character all have in common? They all started on pen and paper, be it physical or digital. Their end destination may have been different, but their beginnings were the same. Characters are everywhere, video games, books, movies, and yes, even in tabletop games. Characters are what make and tell the story. So how do you, the humble TTRPG player, create your unforgettable character? You make him believable, pure and simple, and if you think that means you have to limit your superpowered hero by taking his superhuman powers away, allow me to remind you of a little certain someone. Superman. He has fears, he can make mistakes, he can get jealous, angry, make poor decisions. In that regard, well, he's actually quite human. I might be a squirrel, but even I know humans aren't perfect and have their limitations. Even with superhuman strength, speed, and endurance, Superman can still tell a story that's believable. Superman may be invincible, but his loved ones aren't. Let's pretend there's a timeline where Superman finally gets hitched with Lois Lane. She knows the truth about him and keeps his secret identity safe. They tie the knot, they share their vows. Superman swears to protect her forever and ever. Things are going well, they get a home together and are living their lives. Then at the peak of their honeymoon phase, something happens. It's Superman's birthday, so she decides to sneak out and go to the store to buy him a little something without him knowing. On her way out of the store, she's approached by a drugged-up stranger looking for money. She offers to give everything to the man, but he's too rattled to think straight and ends up shooting her. Later that evening, Superman is at home wondering where Lois is. Considering it's his birthday, he assumes Lois is going to surprise him somehow, so he waits patiently. Then comes a knock on the door, he answers it, and finds 2 police officers. With their hats off and heads down, they say, "Mr. Clark, there's been an accident. Your wife was leaving the store and there was an attempted robbery. Things went south and, well, she's gone, Mr. Clark. I'm sorry." The officer then hands over a bag and follows up with, "She had this on her. I think she would have wanted you to have it." Inside the bag, Superman finds his birthday present and a card with the words, "To the best thing that's ever happened to me. Hope you have a super birthday, Clark. With love, Lois." Superman does everything he can to hold it together. He thanks the officers and gets the information on when and where he'll be able to see the body. He bids them farewell, and as he closes the door, 1,000 thoughts begin to spiral through his head. It starts with confusion. He wonders what in the world happened. How could it have happened? Of all the people and places, why there and then? Why couldn't he protect her? Confusion then progresses to anger. He wants revenge, he wants justice, and who better to serve that justice than Superman? With the cops out of sight, he speeds through the night faster than a speeding bullet. He finds the guilty man, and within the darkness of a back alley, he rips the man limb from limb. Now covered in blood, his rage unsatisfied, doubt slowly begins to creep in. He doubts whether or not he can protect anyone. He couldn't even protect one person, the one he wanted to protect the most. As the doubts take root, he is forced to face the bloody remains in front of him as he realizes the monster he's become. Was he so different than some random druggie that robbed and killed a woman? The one he deemed guilty had merely taken what they wanted. What had he just done himself? Superman then goes on to hide from the rest of the world. He's become broken, and no more is he super, but merely man. His powers may not be believable, but his pain certainly is. And that is what will tell the story. His choices, his reactions, those were believable. Even in a world where something as silly as Superman can exist and all he has to do to keep himself hidden is wear glasses, his character can still be solid and tell a wonderful story. So if anything, my advice to you is to try and make your character believable. Again, Superman's powers aren't the most believable, but his character is. Sure, he's super strong, super fast, he can fly, and, well, he's bulletproof too, but he isn't automatically good at everything he does. He can't make everybody in the room love and accept him simply because he's the main character. Those little things make him more believable despite the superhuman powers. Keep that in mind when you're designing that character to play as in your next TTRPG adventure. Would your character really always make the right decision? Would they really never be afraid of anything? Don't you think a massive dragon would make them cower in fear just a little bit? Now, this is where I originally was going to pull out some examples I've seen and talk about ways to correct them and make them more believable. The thing is, I realized while writing out my thoughts that I started to sound like the very people I spoke against just moments ago. I don't want to come across as an authority to your writing, and I definitely don't want to be the reason you fall into the trap of following a checklist or using my examples as law. There is no magic way to make a character good. There's no master flow chart or step-by-step workshop. If there was, then it wouldn't be works of creativity. It'd just be works, and I think we've seen the results of that approach. At my day jobs, one thing I've had to often point out to the powers that be was that in our attempts to produce, we've forgotten how to create. So when it comes to making an unforgettable character, my advice to you is this. Whether they're human, alien, some kind of fantastical race, or a sophisticated robot, they will have some kind of brain and some kind of heart. Somewhere between those two things, there's a mysterious presence that goes by many names. Some call it a moral compass, some call it the little voice in their head, some call it a conscience, and some even say it's the Holy Spirit moving in them and guiding them through life. Whatever name you decide to give it, it's your responsibility as the creator to make sure your character has it. With that mysterious little presence in your character, conflict and growth will grow organically, and through that conflict and growth, your character will become significantly more believable. Your audience will root for them, they'll feel for them, they'll be there with them through their journey, and they will not soon forget them. Now, with all that said, we'll do our routine closing where I give a shout out and invite y'all for more conversation, but first, let me say this. If you, the audience, actually do want some specific examples for me to go through, let me pitch you an idea. If you want, we can make a series where people submit their characters, be it concept or something they've actually used, and we can use it as a building block for everyone to use and grow from. TTRPG, video game, book, movie script, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of crossover in all departments. I think it'd be a great way for everybody to grow, and since that's what we're here for, obviously I'm all for it. That said, I can understand how submitting your works is a bit nerve-wracking. So think about it, chew on it for a while, and let me know. I can always start with characters of my own to ease people into the process. And with that said, today's shout out does go to Hamster, or more specifically, the Lord of Hamsters. He's been around for a while now and hanging around in the Discord. He certainly seems to live an interesting life between working on becoming a voice actor, brewing some booze, working multiple jobs at once, and even streaming some Pokemon Nuzlocke. But also, the Hamster has been creating his own TTRPG. We actually playtested it not too long ago, and it was a lot of fun. He's got some super solid concepts down, and it's a fairly easy system to pick up and play so far. And for those of you who love rolling dice, well, I've got good news for you. You roll lots of dice, not because you have to roll for every little thing, but because you use dice pools to do things. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to the six-figure sponsorship offer in the near future when he releases it. Also, I completely forgot to mention in the last video that we hit 500 subs, except now we're right about the 650 mark as of recording this, so I kind of missed it by just a little bit. But that's okay, that's a good problem to have. So big thanks to all of you for helping this channel grow by watching, liking, and definitely by taking the time to share your thoughts and opinions, or even just to say you enjoy the content. I appreciate each and every single one of you. And that's it. Let me know in the comments some tricks you use in your own character creation. Share some mistakes and blunders you've made over the years and how you have learned from it. Did you ever fall into the trap of making your main character so awesome and everything that he had no room to grow? I have. Also, be sure to let me know what you think about making a series where we go over your own creations. It's not just about the squirrel, you know, we're all in this together.